Alright, hi, and welcome to a new video. It's been a while, and
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
this we are not late, no. We did
No,
not
no,
build the store almost like a year ago.
no, not at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's nice, and I figured we could just record a tutorial. So,
yeah.
yeah, that's how it looks.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Nice
I think
thinker.
that's a nice animation, and it's also not too big with its 900 blocks of size. Yeah, the dimensions are right here. It's 10 long, I guess, then 18 high, and 5 blocks wide. So, yeah, it's pretty small. And, yeah.
Okay. I guess like for what blocks you will need. I'm gonna just go into circuitry blocks. You will need a stack and 6 sticky pistons, so 70, 7 normal pistons, as well as 2 stacks and 17 observers, as for any good observer spam door. 62 redstone dust, 24 repeaters, 16 activator rails. I mean, this also could be powered rails, but I do not know why you would waste that much. What's it called? Gold?
Gold.
Yeah. And 9 hoppers, 3 droppers, 2 node blocks, 2 redstone blocks, and 2 torches, and also 2 trash items to fill the droppers that we definitely did not forget. Yeah. You also need up here 1 iron trapdoor, 1 trapwire hook. 1 comparator, 1 lamp, and 1 target. So the door is almost targetless, I guess.
Yeah, and Terabed is probably gonna be happy about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so for the building blocks and circuitry blocks and stuff like that, you will need 2 stacks and 8 random hallway blocks, I guess, for just like the door, like the size of the door, the volume that we're gonna build. Like if you want to expand your hallway, you're gonna need more blocks. Then for circuit blocks, if you want to color code it, you will need 34 light gray concrete for the setup. Yeah, we'll get more in depth later. Then 6 blocks for the power line of the door, which is just there to power like everything, and also sides. Then 8 blocks for top closing, 11 or 8 orange blocks for top closing, 11 yellow concrete blocks for the quad on top, and 6 lime concrete blocks for the top refire. And then for bottom you will need 5 pink concrete for the closing and basically the whole pre-tape stuff that happens before the tape. Then 6 magenta concrete for the tape, 2 purple concrete blocks for the stuff that happens after the tape, the post-tape. And then that's equal to a stack and 14 solid blocks if you don't want to color code it. Then non-solid blocks you will need 9 light gray stained glass, 2 red stained glass, 1 yellow and 1 lime glass, and 2 magenta glass blocks. And yeah, that equals to 15 transparent blocks. And then you will also need 2 blocks that can, I guess, shapeshift when you put a block next to it. So we used glass to color code it, 1 yellow glass and 1 lime glass pane. One is top quad and 1 is top refiring. And that equals to 2 blocks, which you could use fences or walls if you don't want to color code it. So yeah, I guess that's it for the materials.
Yeah.
So for the dimensions of the door, you will need to dig down 5 blocks, not including the door frame. Then the door frame, where the layout is gonna go, and like the door blocks are gonna be here. It's centered, so you have 2 blocks to the back and 2 blocks to the front. Then 1 block to either side, and again you need to dig up 5 blocks. So not including the hallway again. So yeah, that is that.
Okay.
I guess we can start with the layout.
Okay, shall I do top first?
Sure.
Okay, so you will just go 5 blocks upwards, like to the highest block, and then make 4 quad extenders next to each other, like this. And we have also the storage. I mean, that's identically to bottom.
Yeah,
With
except the storage on top is on the back.
yeah,
That's
I mean, yeah, it's like, but the layout isn't bad. Like, yeah.
relatively.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna quickly do the sides. Well, where you need 6 blocks on each side. Pistons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. And really complicated. This is like the part I struggled with the most, to be honest.
Insane. Okay, and now
Yeah.
for the bottom, I mean, you just have 4 quads next to each other, like that, in the center. And then on the front of the door this time, you will have your storage, so 4 pistons like that, facing up. And then 4 pistons facing to the side, like this. And of course, place your blocks in. So yeah, that's the layout. And there's also a tape, but I'm gonna show that during the building process of the bottom.
Alright, so I'm first gonna make really quick the inputs, I guess, because they are kind of interesting on this door. And I already lost the input block, that's all very great. You just have a line on the door frame right here, 2 more lines above that with 1 extra block here to place updater pistons. Like this. Now, for those blocks, for the storage, you just have a line of blocks here and dust here, except for this one, this does not need a dust, and we just block all of that off with blocks. This is when it, like, so far, like everything but the topmost pistons, and this is where, like, we use observers, because observers are just make everything easier. If you want to make the doublers, those inputs would be way worse. Yeah, just a row of observers that are get powered by these, or like detect these rails. And like they can be powered rails, but doesn't really matter. Now for the input, that is just come 2 blocks out and 1 block down. And this torch, to be exact, here is gonna be the input. Yeah, so let's actually start up with that. Put a sticky piston right here with an observer looking at that. And we're gonna start with closing, which is just gonna be from here with a block going in, a block in the repeater going into a sticky normal piston, and that's gonna read out this update to this observer, and then a block here, observer, and another block, and just put dust here with this repeater right here. Now this shifts in the first one, but we also obviously want to shift those down then, so it looks like this. And that we're gonna do from this side with this hopper in here. And later there's gonna be redstone dust here. And yes, this does need to be an hopper for a very unlikely locationality case, where this dust would unpower first, second, blah blah blah. It's really rare and it's probably like extremely unlikely, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. Also here, just place a block right here, and that does the first part of storage. Now we just need to push it down, which we're gonna do the 2 observers right here, going into a block, the dust right here, and then up the top thing we're gonna power an observer line like this, going into another block, but dust with a repeater right here and rail like here, right here, and then we have to like push this one down. We need to push it down 1 more so that yeah, it's fully closed. And for this, we're just gonna take an output from here and put it in there. Now look at this. Oh, that's great. What the fuck did I do wrong? Oh, I remember. So what I did wrong here was the fact that I forgot to place an observer here, here, and here. This would have done the extra poles. I'm not gonna demonstrate that. That is just gonna be...
Also, it's important to put the repeater on 2 ticks for the animation.
Yeah, I forgot that. The thing is, during like when I practice it, like it does not matter like in terms of working, but it does matter if you want to have it synchronized. It's a good point. I'm just stupid. Okay, so for the quad, here we're gonna power. This is gonna be input from the input to the quad, and we're just gonna power this instantly, this line. But obviously you also want to power this, the bottom line, to game ticks after. So for that, we're just gonna go down with a hopper like this, and then take that update and power it. So that does do the first 2 moves. And now let's go get some delay here with 2 observers and a repeater, and then just go up again. So for 4 ticks total delay, and that goes into a dust right here, which we need to redirect. And for now, this is just gonna be a normal block thing, but later this block will get replaced, so be aware of that. And this is where one of the weird things comes in. We need an iron trapdoor with a yellow stained glass, because if we like now power this will change shape, and this shape change will actually be detected by observers, and that we use to power the backline here. And you need a glass right here or transparent block, and that goes into the back lines. While that does that, we also need to take an output from this block directly with a repeater. It goes into a hopper, and that from that we have 2 lines propagating up and down, and then was a Baroque, just a support block of the trap wire hook. We just need to place it again, and you could also use like a trap chest, but then like that has the problem that if you accidentally click on it, the entire door will break basically. So yeah, and thus you can't have a support block here, so like take the rail wouldn't work. Yeah, now we need 2 door blocks right here, and 2 tick repeaters, and those go up like this. And just from this one also go 1 more up, 1 observer into another block. And here we can just detect this output like this, the dust right here. Yeah. Now for the refire, which is gonna happen from these repeaters right here, we have 3 droppers pointing in like a circle, like was like with the arrows with my texture pack showing, and upper right here. And this one will be QC'd from this, and it will, like, we will need to update it. And for this, we're just going to use 2 rails, and that is doing that. Now the refire, we need 1 item in the top hopper and 1 in the bottom, for that to work, and just put a right here. I mean, you don't need it right now, but later this will need to be 1. Yeah, same by the way. Well, this also can't be on like a node block. Would be cheaper, but also this you would power this dropper and like just mess the refire up. Yeah, so this one we're gonna take an output with 2 observers going up, over, and up again, going into a normal block and 2 normal blocks, and then a transparent block right here, which we have 3 repeaters on top. And like this top is weird and probably can be done better, the specific part, but like again we built this around a year ago, so like if this is not the most optimized thing in the world, please be like don't have mercy with us. Yeah, but from the refire, I mean, like I said, that I can show also like a little thing. So we're right here, and we need to retract it up now. Also, by the way, like this would be get pushed up from bottom, and we need to retract this up, store it, and then do the power this line up here and then refire it. That's basically the thing, because if you remember, we refire from the state where we have 2 pistons right here. So for that, we are from this piston here, we're gonna take an output right to here, go up and over, and to just a block for this line. And now we also need to power the rails again. For this you can just have 2 blocks like this, I recall, yep, and just on top of here. That does all the preparation. Now we actually need to do the refiring. And for this we're gonna have a normal piston right here, which we will power by going down 2 lines over here, powering this. That's why this has to be a transparent block. We take an output here and here. That gets powered here, and just a slider that sends the pulse over. Now on this side, I'm just gonna... you need the yellow glass pane or like pens or whatever if you don't color code. And we have to put this right here and like an observer reading out of that and over. And that doesn't matter if that fires right now, it's not important. And to refire it, we take an output from here with a toggle. And that actually now you have to remove this block for a second, because we will update the shape of this. And that will send out a block update. But also don't forget to replace it again. Yeah, put also a block here and here, just to power this part again. So now, when I power this one again once, it should do the refire. Yep. Now I'm also gonna quickly do the sides, which are gonna come out from the storage actually, with a toggled pulse. And those will go, I'm just gonna use red concrete for the sides obviously, previously. And you just power a block, and then a red and dust below that is on a solid block that then powers rails. And you just detect all of those out. I mean, yeah, you could just put a block here, but then the sides wouldn't be synced, so that's that. And down here, be careful, because you need a transparent block here, and the same on the other side. Because, yeah, there's stuff below that can quasi-power, or like in this case it will quasi-power actually, in this case it's a bit more iffy if that actually will, but in both cases it's better to just have a transparent block there. Yeah, the same thing in here, just replicated. So block power, getting powered of a toggled observer. Like this, yeah. And also the tape gets activated from the top, where we're gonna have a piston right here with a server like this that's gonna power this server. And that is gonna go, I believe it was magenta, if not Blocks is gonna fix it, I guess.
Yeah.
Into this and that. Does not seem right. Yeah, it has to be one lower. I'm a bit stupid. We need to read out here. And thus, like, everything is shifted down once. By 1 block. Yeah, this activates the tape and post-tape stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess now Blocks takes over.
Alright, so for bottom, I guess I'll just take the box first, because I didn't do it before. So let's start with the storage. Here we have an input with 4 rails and observers observing them. And then we have another rail, which is just to connect the storage. So, because we actually have a slider here, these observers are facing down, by the way. And yeah, fill that up with observers, like this. And then put the return piston here, piston facing up to update it, and a block that is gonna create a zero tick, because, I mean, yeah, it's just a zero tick gen. Not gonna explain zero ticks here. And yeah, the next thing are the quad inputs. For this you have 2 pistons right here, with blocks starting from the left side, with a little gap on the right side. And then you have 5 observers looking at the blocks right here, inside of them, like so. This observer is obviously not powering the quad. This is just to make stuff more automatic. It's going into a block, then into glass. Then be careful about these observer placements, so one into this direction, one into this direction, and one here. And this block right here needs to be transparent, because otherwise it won't mess up stuff. Now for solid blocks, this one needs to be solid, the other ones I believe don't need to be, but just make them solid. Yeah, and then just finish the input, like so. Then another observer looking at this dust. The rest of the blocks of this input are solid, just place like 8 blocks like that. Or I guess 7 if you don't count the observer. Dust like that, and repeaters again facing into the pistons, all on 1 ticks. So this should be the setup, and now let's work on the tape. So yeah, as G6 already told, this is the tape starter. This is why we have a piston right here. This piston is going to start the tape. Has a redstone block on its face, and yeah, I guess I'll finish the layout first. So we have a piston here. This one needs to be sticky, just to like sync up all of this. Because sticky pistons, if they only push 1 block, they get like 2 game ticked or something, then they actually get the block here faster than normal pistons, which is why it needs to be sticky for the animation. I've never tested it with a normal piston, so I don't know if it will mess up, but just make it sticky. And yeah, fill up these blocks that I just filled up, and then the redstone block and all these blocks are gonna get pushed to here. So now we have a piston to push it over. This one has to be normal. And then right here we have a piston with a redstone block, normal piston again, to push this back to here. Now let's work on the circuitry. First on this side you have a block with dust on top, it's gonna get powered. Then underneath the redstone block there's a torch. And then we have a block that's gonna power the piston, if this is not a redstone block. And if it's a redstone block, the tape stops. Now on this side we have 2 observers like this, going into the block that G6 kindly already placed. And then this goes into another block, redstone dust on top, which powers another block. And that's this side done. So when this column moves, observer detects it, powers the redstone block, and moves the block that's gonna appear here. Then the block appears here. If it's not a redstone block, the torch is gonna be on, power the redstone dust, the block, and it's gonna get pushed over. And if it's a redstone block, it relocates. On this side, we have 1 observer here, into a hopper. This needs to be a hopper later, but just placed now. Then a little bit of glass. Now, we obviously don't want this to power the quad, so relocate it. Then we go up, all on glass, and place your one and only target block right here. And now just 2 observers, one is observing this dust, and one is observing the observer. This should be the entire tape, so we can just test it by, if you're in survival, just place a redstone block next to a torch, if you wanna test it. But the tape is pretty simple, I mean, yeah. Anyways. Now for the top to bottom connection, we have a hopper underneath the lever, and then 5 observers facing up. And this is to, first of all, connect top with bottom, but also to ensure enough delay so that top can push down and then bottom starts grabbing the blocks. Anyways, now for the closing and the opening actually, we need to power this line first, so let's do that. Power a block, then into 2 rails that are on glass. The next thing that needs to get powered is this line right here, which is slightly awkward, but yeah. So for that you place an observer facing up right here, with a 2-tick repeater on top, and this observer is needed to be later. This observer is needed for later, so just have it there. Then there's an observer looking at the 2-tick. Replace the dust. This is going into a block, then into glass, which will be replaced later, but yeah. Up into glass because of this observer, and then into a solid block. So that's the second pulse. Then we need to power this bottom storage to push up the blocks. We can actually power it at the same time as the input, so just do that. And that's gonna end up in this state now, on all 4 rows of course. And now we just need to push up the blocks. We do it using this input, the observer connects it, so we just need to power this once. And how we do that is we go down here with dust, then with another 2-tick repeater right here, and then we have an observer looking at the 2-tick, one looking down, and one just powering the input. That should be the entire closing of the door done. But the pre-tape is a little bit more than just the closing, so yeah, I guess I would just build that. The next thing we need to power is this, but it needs to be toggled, because it only happens in the opening. So first, there's an observer looking up, and one across, to connect it with the toggle, so piston, with an observer looking into this direction. And then we have a hopper right here, so on the closing, the observer is gonna get pushed here, on the opening is getting pushed back, powering the hopper, and yeah, the opening starts. So, yeah, the first thing we need to power is this piston, like I said. For that, we just have an observer looking at the hopper, and it powers the solid block that is there. And now we need to power the storage to push the blocks in. And for that we have an observer looking at the hopper, then, one observer looking down, and then just 5 observers looking across, like that. Replace the rails, that should leave this block here I guess, but yeah, just replace it. So that's the next pulse, and now the blocks are gonna be here, we need to push them up. The pistons are gonna be here, it's just to set up for the tape. And so for that we need to power this input. And that's why we are going to go from this observer to here. Then just replace that into this observer, and then two observers facing down. That's there to ensure enough delay, while also just, yeah, connecting this input. And I guess actually let's build the tape detector first. So actually I want to test it first, just to show you what it does. So I wouldn't use the lever, but if we just remove the hopper, you can see that the closing works. And then for opening, you need a setup where all the pistons are facing up and on top of each other. And then we have 3 rows of blocks, because they're going to be pushed down by the top. And now opening starts. So I guess place the hopper back. And that's what's supposed to happen. What we need to do now is power the tape, because there's going to be blocks here that need to be pushed up. The tape's going to be powered, and then we're just going to retract these pistons down with the blocks, of course. So the tape is getting powered by top, so we took care of that. Then we need to retract these blocks after the tape is done, which is going to happen by just spamming a lot of timed pulses. So yeah, place an observer looking at the hopper, one looking down, and then into a magenta block. That's just gonna spam timed pulses, so while the tape is running, it's just gonna try to retract moving blocks, but it can't do that, so it's just gonna do nothing. Once the tape stops, it can retract the blocks. Then for storage, we're gonna spam again, this time with a lamp for the delay. But yeah, for storage, it really doesn't matter when it's powering, as long as it's after this, on like the last pulse. So yeah, we can just power it with a lamp. And well, I'm actually not gonna power the tape, but just know that this is the state we're in right now. So now we need to retract these pistons after the tape stopped, which is with this tape detector. So just a piston, an observer looking to the front side of the door, I guess. And while the tape is running, the storage is gonna be on all the time, because these short pulses don't turn it off, like when the block is here and then moves away. These pulses are very short and are not gonna turn the torch off. So the piston's gonna stay extended. And then once the redstone block comes back, the torch is gonna go off, the observer moves back, and it powers this block. Now we go into a node block with dust on top. This node block needs to be a node block. That's very important. So it needs to be it for later. Just place it now. And yeah, this dust goes into a vortic on a non-solid block that needs to be there for later as well. So this, I think it does. Yeah, anyways. Now the pistons get moved down, but they get moved down to here, and the blocks just get left here, which is not what we want. So we need to push the storage blocks in at the right time, so that they actually get powered, and power these pistons here. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do now. So observer facing up under the dot block, 2 observers across, like that. Then 1 normal piston facing into the door, 1 piston facing down looking at the normal piston, 1 looking at the observer, 1 facing up, just like that. And this is running into a block to power the storage. And since we're looking at the piston, it's gonna power it twice really quickly, which just ensures that the pistons retract the blocks. I guess we could test it now. So that's how it looks right now. Like so. There's 2 more things we need to do now, which is 1, powering this bottom input, which has a lot of stuff attached to it, so it's gonna do a lot of things. But it's not able to do 1 pulse, which we need to time. It's gonna power this input, the pulse. It needs to be timed perfectly so the pistons retract the blocks. So that's what we're gonna do now. Let's just put the pistons back to their old state. Remove the blocks from the storage, like that. How we do that is we have a repeater here, then an observer looking at the repeater, 2 facing down, 1 going into here. So I think we might have not seen that or something, but it actually isn't a big deal. It doesn't do anything that there's a solid block, so you can just keep that. And yeah, so now we go over into this direction. Then we need an observer looking up, and then to here. And yeah, now we just place 2 observers looking up, and then 1 observer powering this piston. And now for the time pulse that I was talking about. First of all, we need to extend this line, and the observers are gonna power this block. And for the timing, we need it to be like this. That's why the block is transparent. And then just the chain like that, powering this block. And that is the perfect timing that we found. So yeah. Now let's test it. And yeah, so everything should work. So now you can just fill in the blocks. And yeah, the door should be working.
Yeah, let's hope.
Let's test it, I guess.
Yeah,
that's looking
what do you
nice.
think?
And that works as well. So yeah.
Let's hope the next tutorial doesn't take a year to come out, or like 8 months ago, I guess.
Yeah. I hope
Nah,
we're gonna get it out quicker. Yep.
Hopefully.
So anyways, thanks for watching and see ya.
See ya.